Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Mr. Paramahansa, Parujika Charja Ashtotar to the Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa, Parujika Charja Ashtotar to the Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavanda ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktavrinda ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Okay, let me just get this thing set up. All right. Okay. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. On this 28th day of June, 2023 in San Diego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, HG Dravida Dasa Prabhupada. And we are in chapter 18, entitled Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation. Text 27, at the top of page 678. Ragi, Karma, Palaprepsur, Lubdho, Hingsatmako, Ashuchihi, Harsha, Shokanvitaha, Karta, Rajasaha, Padikirtitaha, Ragi Karma Palaprepsur, Lubdho Hingsatmako Shuchihi, Harsha Shokanvita Karta, Rajasak Padikirtitaha, Ragi Karma Palaprepsur, Lubdho Hingsatmako Shuchihi, Harsha Shokanvita Karta, Rajasak Padikirtitaha, Ragi Karma Palaprepsur, Lubdho Hingsatmako Shuchihi, Harsha Shokanvita Karta, Rajasak Padikirtitaha. You want to try it, Prabhu? Ragi Karma Palaprepsur, Shuchihi, Lubdho Hingsatmako Shuchihi, Anvita, Harsha Shokanvita Karta, Rajasak Padikirtitaha. Ragi Karma Palaprepsur, Lubdho Hingsatmako Shuchihi, Harsha Shokanvita Karta, Rajasak Padikirtitaha. Ragi Karma Palaprepsur, Lubdho Hingsatmako Shuchihi, Harsha Shokanvita Karta, Rajasak Padikirtitaha. Ragi, very much attached, Karma Pala, the fruit of the work, Prepsuhu, desiring, Lubdaha, greedy, Hingsa, Atmakaha, always envious, Ashuchi, unclean, Harsha Shoka Anvitaha, subject to joy and sorrow, Karta, such a worker, Rajasaha, in the mode of passion, Padikirtitaha, is declared. Translation. The worker who is attached to work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits, and who is greedy, always envious, impure, and moved by joy and sorrow, is said to be in the mode of passion. Purport. A person is too much attached to a certain kind of work or to the result because he has too much attachment for materialism or hearth and home, wife and children. Such a person has no desire for higher elevation in life. He is simply concerned with making this world as materially comfortable as possible. He is generally very greedy, and he thinks that anything attained by him is permanent and never to be lost. Such a person is envious of others and prepared to do anything wrong for sense gratification. Therefore, such a person is unclean, and he does not care whether his earning is pure or impure. He's very happy if his work is successful and very much distressed when his work is not successful. Such is the worker in the mode of passion. Oh, I forgot to silence that. I'm sorry. Hare Krishna. Sorry about that. Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Salakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and to all members of Sri Parampara. So you may recall that Krishna defined 5 different elements for action. 5 factors of action, text 14. The place of action, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, ultimately the supersoul. These are 5 factors of action. And now he has gone through and those which are subject to the modes of nature, he's giving different kinds, like the performer, the karta. This verse was all about the karta, the performer. And the endeavor has also been discussed. So he already talked about a worker in the mode of goodness. Let's just read that translation from 26. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of nature, material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. And Prabhupada immediately applies this to someone who's in Krishna consciousness. But now this is 27 is, most people are in that mode of passion and working definitely for the fruit, to enjoy the fruit, and they have a tendency to become greedy and envious. Envious here means often not that you're jealous of what someone else has, but that you're simply ready to hate them, be angry at them, if they're at all impediments in your effort to make more money and get more for yourself. So that word envy, and Prabhupada would often use envious to mean simply be malicious or bear malice. Unclean, because that's not in the program and it's just waste of time, you know. So let's get working. And subject to joy and sorrow, the dualities, of course, are right there. So this is, many people, especially in the modern age, are in this mode of passion. And it's very difficult to be receptive to the message of Krishna consciousness when you're always in the mode of passion, because it looks like you guys are missing out, you know? You're living this, your wardrobe costs like, well, I'm not going to guess what it costs, but minimal. And you're not enjoying what you could be enjoying. So most people who are really in this mode, and they somehow have some curiosity about the higher values of life and what is the meaning of life, and then they won't become interested. So now let's read about the worker in the mode of, unless there's questions or comments, we're in the mode of ignorance. Ayukta prakrita stabdha shato naish kritiko lasaha vishadi dirga sutricha karta tamasa uchyate. The worker who is always engaged in work against the injunctions of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, and who is lazy, always morose and procrastinating, is said to be a worker in the mode of ignorance. Purport. In the scriptural injunctions, we find what sort of work should be performed and what sort of work should not be performed. Those who do not care for those injunctions engage in work not to be done, and such persons are generally materialistic. They work according to the modes of nature, not according to the injunctions of the scripture. Such workers are not very gentle, and generally they are always cunning and expert in insulting others. They're very lazy. Even though they have some duty, they do not do it properly, and they put it aside to be done later on. Therefore, they appear to be morose. They procrastinate Anything which can be done in an hour, they drag on for years. Such workers are situated in the mode of ignorance. So this is, unfortunately, a phenomenon that takes place. And it's very possible in today's world to sink down into this mood because just making a living is so difficult. For so many people have to work 2 or 3 jobs. They've arranged things where oftentimes both the husband and the wife have to work. Or they have to put the child in for childcare. That's expensive, and it's not very good for the child. Always be away from the mother, and it's a very fragile situation. And oftentimes it just leads to despair, and you take shelter of some drugs or alcohol or something. There's many millions of people like that because the people with all the power, with the millions and the billions, they're trying to exploit as much as possible, and they completely lose the sense of empathy or compassion. It's all just a business deal, you know. Like the medical industry, I was reading that many people come and go into medicine because they really want to help others. That's part of it. They want to try to relieve pain and do good, you know. But in today's world, with everything being owned by the insurance companies, and it's all a question, spend as little time as possible with the patient, isn't it? With the doctor? And they feel that they need to tell the person more, spend some time with them, but they don't have the time because they're dictated by the higher authorities. And so many, I read, many doctors are becoming discouraged. They're even leaving the field. And this whole pandemic put so much strain on the medical, system. But the people at the top with the millions and billions, it's just a business. It's just a business for them. So this is what happens. Even though they may be in the big suite, they're still workers in the mode of ignorance. If their whole business is just exploiting others and greedy and competing and stuff. This is the age we live in. But devotees are meant to be kind and compassionate. If someone gets sick, and you have a facility where a devotee gets sick, you try to help them. And not, just think, well, thank God it's not me, Text 28. Ayukta prakrata stabdha. Oh, we did that one, right? 29. Buddhir bedam jitesh chaiva. Gunatas chivadam shunu. Prochamanamasheshena. Pratakvena Dhananjaya. O winner of wealth, now please listen as I tell you in detail of the different kinds of understanding and determination according to the 3 modes of material nature. Purport. Now, after explaining knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower in 3 different divisions according to the modes of material nature, the Lord is explaining the intelligence and determination of the worker in the same way. Pravatim chanavrittim cha karya karye bhayabaye bandham moksham cha yaveti buddhi sa parta satviki. O son of Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. Purport. Performing actions in terms of the directions of the scriptures is called pravritti, or executing actions that deserve to be performed. And actions which are not so directed are not to be performed. One who does not know the scriptural directions becomes entangled in the actions and reactions of work. Understanding which discriminates by intelligence is situated in the mode of goodness. So I listened to so many lectures of Prabhupada, and he was talking about this. I think he was speaking on chapter 16. There's one of the characteristics of the demons, prapatim chanavrittim jana no vidulasura. The asuras, the demons, they don't know what is to be done and what is not to be done. And so, then what are the criteria for action? Well, it becomes just what feels good, what you want to do. It's not based on a higher knowledge, what is ultimately best for you. Hare Krishna. Okay. All right, there we go. So this is a key point. First of all, we need to know what is the ultimate goal of our life. What is the best way to live for our ultimate benefit? This is the principle of Shreyas and Preyas. We are on page 680. You
can take another book.
Yeah, we have several books.
You're right.
Yeah. So the whole basis of the Bhagavad Gita and all the scriptures is that we should accept the knowledge that's coming down, not just that we may figure out by our own senses and our own mind, or by someone else's senses and mind, but has actually come originally from the absolute source. And as soon as you find out, as soon as you come to know that we're spirit, not matter, and that our life is eternal. Nobody dies. But the body certainly dies. And we go through the experience of death as a great ending in the material consciousness. And we don't know what is to follow death. And we certainly don't know how to act in this life for our best next life. That's a basic principle of intelligence. But it's all keyed on this knowledge that we ourselves have never been born and never die. And so that means we had births before. And what we did before is why we're in this situation. And what we do now, how we cultivate our activities and consciousness, will determine our next life. So therefore, we should know pravritti and nivritti. What is the best things to do, and what should we avoid doing in order to get our best future? And the best future of all is that we don't have to take birth again. Because taking birth in the material body is tremendously unnatural for the soul. Nobody knows this. We just accept the situation we're in. Well, this is who I am. But this is not who we are. We've had millions of different identities, with different species, different situations, different environments, everything. But by the grace of the Lord, we forget that. If we remembered them all, we couldn't live. You know, oh, why didn't I do this back in my third life back there? I would have been much better. You know? No, it's wiped away. As Krishna says, chapter 15, text 15, it's so key. Sarvasya chaham vidisannivishto mattak smritir jnanam apohanangsha. He's saying that I am situated in everyone's heart, along with the soul, the individual soul, indestructible particle of spirit, that's us. And the super soul is an expansion of God, of Krishna. So he's there, and he's inspiring us, he's giving us good instruction. But we generally, in the conditioned state, we don't accept it. We can't hear it, we can't access it. So he's coming, but he provides that remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. The forgetfulness is also there, which is a great blessing, actually, in many cases. But in order to understand now what to do for our future, we need to consult books like the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, as it is, and interpreted or explained by a realized soul, as this one is. So this principle, it's central to our lives, doing one thing and not another, right? We decide to do this. Okay, I want to become a great musician, or I want to learn how to play the guitar, because I heard, it's very attractive. Okay, that's a good, that's something you can do. But that means that you have to find a teacher and maybe consult books, and you have to practice. And there's a period where there's not much music coming out, but you're learning the techniques, and all of that. And everyone knows that. No matter what you want to do, there's a path, there's a progress, there's a marga. It's called the bhakti marga that we engage. So to find out what the goal of life is and how to achieve it, it's called sadhya and sadhana. Sadhya is the goal and sadhana is the practice. Now that principle is there for everything. Suppose you want to become an expert car mechanic. So that's your goal. So that I can get a nice job, I can support myself in that way, I have those, natural affinity for that. Okay? Well, you have to get a job or at least an internship in a garage somewhere so you can witness and be taught and what's going on with the internal combustion engine and everything that goes on in making a car. So you can develop skills and knowledge and confidence that you can work in the garage and prove yourself so that someone will hire you. But it's all that time you can't be partying, you can't be drinking. This is nivritti. This is the nivritti part. No, I can't do that. I have to put in the hours and the work and become expert. So the same thing holds for bhakti. The sadhya is the best goal that you can have. And it's simple. It's an expansion of what we're trying to do anyway in our material life, but failing, which is to minimize the pain and suffering down to nil and maximize the pleasure as far as possible. But if you try to do that on the material plane, then you end up suffering more. Because this is not the senses and even the mind are not a valid means by which you can enjoy constantly ever-increasing happiness. It just doesn't work that way. We all have experience. It's like eating. Okay, suppose it's purely vegetarian food, fine. But it's made so nicely. It's not prasadam. It's just you went to a vegetarian restaurant. So it may taste very good. You order seconds. Maybe it's an all-you-can-eat restaurant. But at a certain point, you're satiated, and then you get to the point where okay, I know I'm going to suffer. It certainly tastes good, but then I'm going to suffer. But I don't care. It just tastes like, That's the mode of ignorance, right? So that's a simple fact of life. You can learn that as a child, right? Therefore, the material pleasure has limits. It has limits in time, and it also has a reaction. It's a source of miseries. I'm not going to quote the verse. But everyone knows it, right? Material pleasure is limited by time and by your senses, by your ability to enjoy, and it has a reaction. Even if you're very moderate about it and you just enjoy very responsibly, if it'll bring you back again in your next life. Because as Krishna explained so nicely at the beginning of the 15th chapter, the process of transmigration involves the subtle body. We have two bodies. Prabhupada compares it to a coat and a shirt. Right? The outer body is what we all call the body, the senses, the legs, the arms, everything we see. But we all know we have an inner body. We can't see it. I can't see your mind, your intelligence, your ego. Right? But that we all have those things. And it's that subtle body that is changing, is being developed as you interact with the world, whatever you do. You're acting with that body also, and you're also acting with your external body. So all that's being recorded. It's creating an impression. When you do some enjoyment, like sometimes, I gave this example. I mentioned it in the class, I think. I went home last night after class, and there was a fellow standing outside my apartment, downstairs. I live upstairs. But he was on his cell phone, and he's smoking a cigarette. And he was the smoke I could, I smell. Okay, that's happened before. But whenever I see someone, smoking so desperately like that, knowing that he's a serious smoker, said it's just, even now, after all that's been proved how harmful it is, still you get hooked and you can't give it up. But that's a metaphor for all material pleasures. And as you go through life, they may change. Of course, children enjoy something, they can't enjoy something else, and you grow up, you change. But all of them are putting an impression in your mind, in your subtle body, to do it again, enjoy it again. And if you die with those impressions and that desire, then that'll bring you back into another material body. And that's not what we want to do. The process of birth, the process of getting older, and old age, disease, death, these things are this cycle we've been going on for millions of years. And so we want to break that, and we want to get liberation. Liberation means for a devotee going back home, back to guided, to resume our original life of eternity, bliss, and knowledge in the spiritual world. No more coming down. No more birth, old age, disease, and death. And the spiritual happiness doesn't end, and it's ever increasing, which is inconceivable now. But that's what it is. That's our real birthright. So, back to our verse. The understanding one knows what ought to be done. Is this what we read, 30? Yeah, I think, an understanding. He's doing that. That's what he's talking. What ought to be done and what not ought to be done. What's the criteria for ought? What will bring your ultimate greatest benefit? What is to be feared, what is not to be feared, what is binding, what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. So that's what Srila Prabhupada came to give. That's what this whole movement is about. It's try to disseminate the knowledge and also live it and give an example of it, so that people can see, yeah, this is a different way of life. This is a way of coping with the modern difficulties in such a way that you don't get swept up in, what can I call it, but the madness, of the modern age. You have, the two main threats, mass threats to existence, nuclear war and climate change, right? What are we doing about them? How are we actually dealing with it? We're 90 seconds to midnight, according to the doomsday clock that's been running since the first atom bomb went off. The scientists are keeping, how close are we to Armageddon, Very close with this Ukraine war. You've got two nuclear powers, And then the climate change. They haven't really done anything. They're still pouring out all of these, greenhouse gases and these things. So who knows what's going to happen? They almost ruined the New York Rath Yatra. Did you know that? These fires in Canada. And the Wednesday before the Rath Yatra, one of our devotees went there, Gauramani. He's still in New York. He's taking a deity course, which is Mani Bandhani. I'm sorry, Mani Bandhani. So I was watching, oh my God, the Wednesday before, the Sunday, the air in New York was worse than the air in Delhi. It was the worst air in the world that day, because all this smoke was pouring down from the fires in Canada. I said, boy, I hope it clears up by Sunday. Luckily it did. It was great, But now, the air in Toronto, that Rath Yatra is coming up in a couple of weeks, is the worst air in the world. It's crazy. And it's not just, the fires, well, it's a natural occurrence. No, it's caused by, it's aggravated by the climate change. And then the heat in southern Texas. Did you read about that? Yeah, and the real problem is, one of the main problems, it does not cool off at night. And people who don't have air conditioning, you're old, you can die from that. So anyway, it's becoming more and more extreme. We were complaining, what happened to summer around here, spring? Hello, it's still 54 degrees, I have to go to Mangalarti and put on my winter coat, But now I think, nice and cool, okay, we're good, we're good. Now it's warming up a little bit, But that's, we always got the earthquakes threatening underneath. So this is the material world, is that it's a place of danger. Krishna, he certifies it, dukkhalayam ashashvatam, in the 8th chapter. Dukkhalayam means an abode of misery, of suffering. Yes, there are times when you're doing okay and you're feeling happy, But the basic principles are one of suffering, because we're in a material body. So what to do about it, that's what this whole book is about. And at the end, this chapter, a few verses, he said, okay, forget what Krishna basically says, all right, don't worry about everything I said before. Just do this one thing. Sarva dharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Just give up all other dharmas that I told you about and do this one thing. Surrender unto me. In other words, find out how to serve me purely. And you don't have to worry about any of your karma. I'll eradicate it all. And you will certainly come to me. Previous verse, manmana bhavamadbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. This is a summary of Krishna consciousness. Think of me, become my devotee, worship me, bow down to me. You'll certainly come to me. I promise you this because you're my very dear friend. Now he's saying this to Arjuna, but factually he's a friend of all of us. We just have to open up to it. And these two verses that summarize the whole book. And it's coming up in a few verses, and well, maybe next week we'll get to it. All right, well, let us continue. That was 30, right? All right, now 31. Yaya dharmam adharmam cha. Karyam cha karyameva cha ayatavat prajanati buddhi sa partarajasi. O son of Prita, that's Arjun. O son of Prita, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in the mode of passion. So you can see how dangerous that is. It's like, you're going to take a medicine, but I don't know if this is the right medicine or the wrong medicine. Or, is this safe to go here? I don't know, So the problem is it's a lack of understanding. It's a lack of knowledge. Between action should be done and action should not be done. And so what do you use as criteria? What we used in the 60s. If it feels good, do it. Right. And then after a while, you don't feel so well anymore. That's madness. That's the mode of ignorance. So at least this is the mode of passion. There's imperfect. Cannot perfectly distinguish. The word ayatavat means imperfectly, right? Imperfectly. So you know somewhat, but you make mistakes in some things. You don't want that. Next text. Adharmam dharmamitiya manyate tamasavata sarvatan vapaditangscha buddhi sa partatamasi. That understanding, quote, which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion, under the spell of illusion and darkness, and strives always in the wrong direction, O Partha, is in the mode of ignorance. Purport. Intelligence in the mode of ignorance is always working the opposite of the way it should. It accepts religions which are not actually religions and rejects actual religion. Men in ignorance understand a great soul to be a common man and accept the common man as a great soul. They think truth to be untruth and accept untruth as truth. In all activities, they simply take the wrong path. Therefore, their intelligence is in the mode of ignorance. Sound familiar? They accept truth to be untruth and untruth to be truth. We're living in an age where misinformation, disinformation, and outright lies are being propagated, and many people are becoming bewildered because they want to believe something that's not true, and they want to disbelieve what's actually true because it's too painful. But you can see that you can lead you to disaster. Believe, the whole anti-vax thing. You can see how dangerous that is. There's vaccination that actually works. I mean, probably, accepted vaccinations as real things, Many hundreds of thousands of people died because of believing somebody who decided, no, you better not take it, it's dangerous. And you had so many cases. I remember the height of that pandemic, stories of people who were against the vaccine, then they're lying on the bed, give me the vaccine, it's too late. Learn it too late. So this is the mode of ignorance. It's very dangerous for life in this world. Okay, that was now determination. Dhrityaya daryate manak pranindriya kriyaha yogena vyabhicharinya Dhiti sa partha sattviki. O son of Prita, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice, and which thus controls the activities of the mind, life, and senses, is determination in the mode of goodness. Purport. Yoga is a means to understand the Supreme Soul. One who is steadily fixed in the Supreme Soul with determination, concentrating one's mind, life, and sensory activities on the Supreme, engages in Krishna consciousness. That sort of determination is in the mode of goodness. The word avyabhicharinya is very significant, for it indicates that persons who are engaged in Krishna consciousness are never deviated by any other activity. So determination, that just recalls that verse. Utsaha nishayadhyayat tat karma pravartana. There's a formula for success in Krishna consciousness. Enthusiasm, patience, and determination. This is a very important formula for our progress. Okay, we want to leave a little time for our recording session. So we'll resume on Monday with text 34. Is it not? Okay. Okay.
Put this down your krita.
In here? Okay.
And pull it out on the side here.
Oh. How's that?
That's good.
Oh. Okay. Oh, all right. Okay, this is a little special feature of our classes these days. I wrote some poetry, and we were reciting it so it'll be recorded and go on YouTube. Let's see. Okay. All right. All right. So we're going to begin. Are you recording?
Yes.
So we're going to begin with a poem by Rupa Goswami about Lord Chaitanya. I'm going to, as I did last time, I think give one of the Sanskrit slokas and then read all the rest in English. So is that okay?
Yes.
So this is the called the third Chaitanyashtika, means the third set of eight verses, 8-verse poem by Srila Rupa Goswami from the Stubba Mala, which simply means a compendium of verses that he wrote. Apasata padambujas tramano rakta rudradibi papadda purushottamam padamadabbamudbrajitaha samastanata mandali spudadabishta kalpa drumam ashachi sutamahi pabo kudamukunda mande kripam. Your lotus feet are worshipped by the multitude of gods, beginning with Lord Shiva, in whose heart devotion throbs. You've made Lord Jagannath's great city by the sea your home, and there you shine with splendor as in ecstasy you roam. Sorry. Uh-oh. All right, maybe I have to start again.
You want to start again?
Yeah. Just to begin with the English. Okay.
Ready? 1, 2.
But let me see, before we do it though. I want to see how this is going to work. Oh yeah, okay, I get it. Okay, here we go. Your lotus feet are worshipped by the multitude of gods, beginning with Lord Shiva, in whose heart devotion throbs. You've made Lord Jagannath's great city by the sea your home, and there you shine with splendor as in ecstasy you roam. For all your loving devotees who beam like many moons, you are a wish-fulfilling tree bestowing endless boons. O Lord Chaitanya Shri Mukunda Shachi's precious jewel, please shower your compassion on this wretched, stubborn fool. Shripad Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya never finds the limits of your glories, what to speak of lesser minds. Even Lord Ananta and your other incarnations find their power to extol you fraught with limitations. Your vast intelligence will surely never know defeat. I humbly bow before you and most earnestly entreat, O Lord Chaitanya Shri Mukunda Shachi's precious jewel, please shower your compassion on this wretched, stubborn fool. The glorious Upanishads had kept the secret sealed. By them the gem of pure devotion never was revealed. Nor did your most exalted incarnations show that jewel, for only you yourself could bring about the great renewal of Krishna Bhakti. And behold, you've reached your lotus hand into the nectar sea and cast that gem upon the land. O Lord Chaitanya Shri Mukunda Shachi's precious jewel, please shower your compassion on this wretched, stubborn fool. Overwhelmed with love of Krishna, who is none but you, you dance ecstatically, astounding three-eyed Lord Shambhu. To all your humble devotees you gladly manifest the nectar of devotion. They feel infinitely blessed. The proud and egotistical can never know your glories. To them accounts of your great deeds are just so many stories. O Lord Chaitanya Shri Mukunda, Shachi's precious jewel, please shower your compassion on this wretched stubborn fool. Even low-born sinful souls entrapped in Kali's age, suffering uncounted pains that no one can assuage, are instantly delivered when you kindly seek them out and flood them with your splendid mercy, making bhakti sprout. And so with heart rejoicing at your mercy's endless store, I take full shelter of your lotus feet and then implore, O Lord Chaitanya Shri Mukunda, Shachi's precious jewel, please shower your compassion on this wretched stubborn fool. Trickling from your lotus mouth, the honey nectar stream of your pure words enlightens all and showers bliss supreme upon the humble bumblebees who are your devotees. What use to them are dry philosophies, austerities? You are an ocean full of gems, the holy names which bless all people on this planet with supreme auspiciousness. O Lord Chaitanya, Shri Mukunda, Shachi's precious jewel, please shower your compassion on this wretched stubborn fool. The beauty of your face defeats the full moon's soothing glow. From full-blown lotus petal eyes your loving glances flow. By clusters of your gentle smiles your lovely lips are graced. Your chest is broad, your arms are like two glorious upraised snakes. Your handsome form defeats 100,000,000 Kamadevs, and best of all, your mercy floods this world in endless waves. O Lord Chaitanya Shri Mukunda, Shachi's precious jewel, please shower your compassion on this wretched stubborn fool. O Lord, whose splendor calls to mind the golden daffodil, I am the lowest sinner in this world of sinners. Still, you overlook the faults of ones whose faults are like an ocean, and bless him with the strength to practice unalloyed devotion. With this in mind, O Lord, who are most kind to fallen souls, I ask you with a humble heart, devoid of mundane goals, O Lord Chaitanya Shri Mukunda, Shachi's precious jewel, please shower your compassion on this wretched stubborn fool. O festival of happiness for all this world of woe, O Lord, who caused the joy in Shachi's heart to overflow. O fulgent moon, whose glow is your unending spotless fame. O Bhagavan, whose mission is to spread your holy name. O Sri Chaitanya Chandra, kindly grant this one request. May those who hear these verses, feeling purified and blessed, while deeply contemplating your exquisite lotus feet, attain pure love for you and make their blessed lives complete. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Now here's a well-known one. We have time? Okay. This is the first Kudan Vihar Ashtaka, the first 8-verse poem about the Lord who plays in Vrindavan, also by Rupa Goswami. Inna nila mani mandulavana pullani pakusamanchitakarna Krishna labada kashora sihari sundaro jayati kunja bihari. His smooth complexion conquers sapphire stunning to the eye. Kadamba blooms with fragrance full on each ear gently lie. His beauty's great, and by his chest where Gunja necklace stays, all glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. Chakora longing for the moon of Radha's radiant face, a thief purloining patience from the cowherd's wives apace. His expert rhythmic dancing winning all the gopis' praise. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. When Indra's sacrifice he stopped, he stole the Deva's pride by playfully uplifting Giri Govardhan to hide his friends and cows beneath the hill for 7 nights and days. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. Heartwarming warbling melodies adorn his flute, which sings of Cupid's fest. To him unending happiness it brings. The parrot pair his loving pastimes never tire to praise. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. His glistening silken garments steal the glow by gold possessed. His crown of perfect peacock plumes defeats all other crests. Vrindavan's radiant girls rejoice to see his loving ways. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. Most fragrant sandal paste anoints his limbs so slightly blue. A splendid golden belt adorns his waist. He's likened to an elephant bound by the ropes of Radha's winning ways. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. His forehead glows with golden tilak skillfully applied. His playful pastimes swing his champak garland side to side. He meets the gorgeous gopis for their rendezvous in caves. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. Their work ignored, the cowards' wives are nearly paralyzed when dancing glances strike them from the corners of his eyes. Ecstatic heroes setting love-mad Radha's heart ablaze. All glories to the Lord who in Vrindavan's forest plays. The pastimes that the Lord enjoys in Brudda's sylvan bowers enhance this octave beauty and pour forth pure nectar showers. Whoever hears these verses soon acquires saintly traits and serves his lustrous lotus feet with love that ne'er abates. Okay, so I think we'll have time for this one now. This is the Sri Nandananashtaka from the Govinda Lilamrita by Srila Krishna's Kaviraj. Ambul Danjan in the Nila Nindikandi Dambada, Kunkamodada, the Vigyudamti Vincha Dambada, Shimananga Charti Tendu Pita Nakta Chandana, Swangvidasi Dostu Mesa Ballavindanandana. His dark complexion mocks mascara, sapphires, and a blackish cloud. His garments shine like reddish rising sun with lightning bolts endowed. With sandal paste enhanced with camphor are his handsome limbs replete. May none the sun bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. Upon his cheeks his shark-shaped earrings dance with quintessential grace. The pride of countless moons and lotus blooms is shattered by his face. The gopis bind his heart with hidden love that's perfect and complete. May none the sun bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. His loving pastimes, youthful form, and gorgeous dress are always new. His coward friends delight him with their playful tricks and joking too. His splendid pleasure grows, make Indra's Nandana accept defeat. May none the sun bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. Their hearts aglow with golden praying, his friends and kin expand his joy. The universal rulers bow their heads before that cowherd boy. He daily honors learned, truthful Brahmins free of all conceit. May none the sun bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. King Indra's wrath, and Kaliya's, and Kamsa's life, and Vatsa's too, he crushed with these, thus raining down heroic pastimes ever new. Like Chatakas, his devotees are nourished by that torrent sweet. May none the sun bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. His rasa dance in sylvan groves delights Radha and her friends, who drink the nectar of his clever joking play which never ends. The glory of his loving sports fills all the worlds with joy complete. May none the sun bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. His rasa dance displays intense devotion of the purest kind. His charming, wondrous form and dress enchanting Cupid's mind. His glances at the gopis hint at ecstasy supremely sweet. May none the sun bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. As Radha gathered flowers, Krishna touched her. Then he felt desire and jubilation as he saw her face adorned with loving ire. Hari becomes the sandal paste on Radha's chest whene'er they meet. May none the sun bestow on me the service of his lotus feet. Exalted goddesses like Lakshmi Devi rarely ever see Shri Radha's lover Madhava, but if a humble devotee recites these verses, then Shri Radhika's enjoyer Shri Hari will pour the nectar of his service down on him eternally. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So we'll resume there next Wednesday with the Radhikashtaka. Hare Krishna. You're welcome, Prabhu. And thank you for giving me an opportunity. Okay. So this is the 28th. So our next day will be on the 5th. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I did a couple of bloopers again.
No, it's okay.
What could I do? Oh, you can? Okay, good.